we all see the woke movement, and that's sort of the colloquial term for sort of this way of viewing the world, right?
It's their term, which they get mad if you use now. So
yeah, but and
wait, is it our term? Because I feel like it's been used as a pejorative for a pretty long time for liberal ideas. In any case, I doubt that these two guys can actually define what woke actually means. I mean, dipshit DeSantis from Florida, he is trying to ban woke shit. But even then, they haven't really been able to define it all that well. My guess is that these two guys are using woke as a synonym for liberal ideas. Oh, and I did look up like the origins of woke, at least the idea of woke that we're talking about here, this particular context. And it did arise out of protests against the shooting of unarmed Black Americans. So liberals, I guess, did start using it, but it's since become a pejorative used by the conservative Christian right-wing assholes.
The technical term for it is critical consciousness. Okay. It's the idea that you now are awake to the power dynamics of society, and now your mission in life is to play that game of those power dynamics. And, you know, for most of them, it's to create equity within the power dynamic structures of society. And the people at the top of the power dynamics are white heterosexual males. And so that's why the patriarchy needs to go. And anyway, there's all that kind of stuff that's built into it.
Okay. I don't understand how any of this applies to atheism. Maybe they're going to get to the point here soon. I would agree that there is systemic racism, that there is this uneven power dynamic between those at the top of our society and other people within the society. And those at the top of the society, those top 1%ers or whatnot, are generally white, heterosexual, old ass males. Those are the ones that are generally at the top, and I would consider it, patriarchal in nature, which has been a problem for a long time. So I guess you could call me woke as shit.
But what I want to kind of pull this back to is to the way that this relates to religion itself. Because what's happened is that I think that the new atheist movement, they had the fantasy that let's get rid of religion and then everyone will get really, really rational, and like the rational utopia will emerge from the death of religion.
No, that I don't agree with this at all. For one thing, new atheism, I really hate that term because it's not really new. It's just atheism, the atheist movement. They call it new atheism because we started speaking up and speaking out against religious preferential treatment, religious bigotry. Like, we actually started speaking up and pushing back against the religious majority in the world. And so that's why they call it new atheism. It seems because what new atheism, that particular term, was coined after 9/11. That seems to be the pivot point, or at least in what I've researched, that seems to be the pivot point, because that inspired a lot of atheist writers to start writing books about how dangerous religion can be and what effect religion has had on society. Sam Harris came out with his books because of what happened on 9/11, and then subsequently you got, Dawkins, Hitchens, Daniel Dennett, and just the whole slew of like old guard atheists started writing, their books. What they mean is that atheists stopped being quiet, stopped being just like, oh, well, I'll just keep my opinion to myself. We started pointing out the problems within religion and the effects that religion has had on our society. And that's what they're complaining about whenever they use the term new atheism and all this other shit. Next, we don't have the goal of erasing religion from society. Some people might, like in the atheist community, want that to happen, but I know at least I don't. I don't want to erase religion from society. And finally, I think that the recent shakeups in the atheist community that show that just because you're an atheist, that doesn't automatically mean that you're rational or reasonable reasonable, it totally disproves this notion that we think that as soon as we get rid of religion, everybody automatically becomes reasonable and rational. It kind of seems like this host here hasn't actually talked to any atheists. Maybe he's talked to some like extreme fringe kind of atheists that say that, oh, if we wipe religion off the earth, we'll all become rational and reasonable people. But that's just not reality, because obviously the rational and reasonable part is more a thing of the human condition, because being rational and reasonable is something outside of religion. Now, I do think that if somebody does believe in God, that they do have some irrational or unreasonable thoughts about reality, but that doesn't mean that I consider them to be irrational or unreasonable in general. And I don't think that if we get rid of religion, that means that everybody's going to automatically become those things.
Oh, they were
and that's not what happened.
No, not at all.
At all.
Mm-mm.
Because humans are fundamentally religious creatures in a way.
I've a fucking citation needed on this one. Like, we're fundamentally religious. I mean, I think that we're fundamentally gullible. I think that humans can be convinced of things that are not true very easily. And I would agree that people in general are fundamentally curious and they want to know answers for things about their reality. And God is just an easy answer to go to. I guess in that way, it could be fundamentally religious, just because religion is an easy answer that will get people to shut the fuck up. That doesn't mean that it's the best answer, and it also doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to find better answers in general. So fundamentally religious? I would say fundamentally gullible.